Level 1. The hallway. You're 22 and you bus tables at a steakhouse off the highway. $10 an hour plus whatever the servers don't want to split. You owe $19,000 in student loans from a degree you didn't finish, and your insurance lapsed in March because you had to choose between coverage and rent one. Your check engine light has been on for 5 months. You can't afford to find out why. A server named Jalen works the dinner shift. Same steakhouse. Same $10. But Jalen drives a car that doesn't have a check engine light and wears watches that cost more than your monthly take-home. You've never asked where the money comes from because you already know the answer isn't in the tip jar. He catches you after close one night and shows you something on his phone. A photo, front and back of a customer's visa. He took it in the time it takes to walk from the table to the POS terminal. 5 seconds, maybe 6. He used it that same night. $320 in headphones shipped to an empty townhouse 4 blocks from the restaurant. The charge cleared. No call, no alert, no questions. You tell him that's insane. He asks how your check engine light is doing. You don't answer because the answer is the reason you're standing in a parking lot at midnight listening to someone explain credit card fraud. You think about it for 11 days. Not about morality. About the check engine light. About $10 an hour and what $10 buys after rent and loans and gas and the groceries you stretch across 6 days because payday is always one day further than the food lasts. Your first card is a woman in a business suit who paid for a $200 dinner and left an $8 tip. You take the photo in the hallway between the kitchen and the dining room. The hallway is 14 feet long. You have the length of that hallway to take the photo and put the card back on the tray. Your hands shake. The first photo is useless. You take a second one walking. It's clear enough. You buy a portable charger and a pair of wireless earbuds that night. $230. Ship them to the empty townhouse. Pick them up the next morning in a backpack. Sell them on Marketplace by lunch for $160 cash. $160. One photo. One hallway. The math enters your head, and it doesn't leave. The second card is easier. The third is routine. By the 8th, you don't think about it at all. You choose carefully. Never the regulars. Never the families who come every Thursday. Business travelers. Convention crowds. People who hand you a corporate card and don't look at you when they do it. Jalen says stay under $275 per order. He says that's where the automated flags kick in. You don't know if he's right. You stay under $275 because the consequences of being wrong aren't something you can afford to test. 2 cards a week. Sometimes 3. 5 seconds in a 14-foot hallway. That's the entire operation. The guilt hits you the first night. A heavy, physical thing that sits on your chest while you try to sleep. By the 3rd week, the weight is lighter. By the 6th week, it's gone. You don't know when it left. You just notice one night that it isn't there anymore, and you don't go looking for it. 3 months. $3,800. You get the check engine light fixed. It was the oxygen sensor. $190. You pay cash from a wallet that was empty 2 months ago. Then Jalen makes a mistake. He takes a card from a guy who comes in every other Saturday. The guy notices a charge and calls the restaurant the next day. The manager holds a staff meeting. Says there's been a complaint about unauthorized charges. Says he's reviewing procedures. Nobody gets named. Nobody gets fired. The regular blames a gas station he stopped at the same week. Jalen doesn't get caught. But you feel the air change in the room during that meeting, and you decide that feeling is worth paying attention to. You buy a prepaid phone. You start wearing thin gloves when you handle cards. You open a second bank account at a bank across town. You keep a notebook with every card, every purchase, every sale, every dollar. Organization isn't caution. Organization is survival. 6 months. $9,700. You still make $10 an hour. The $10 is the costume now. The $10 is what you wear so nobody asks about the rest. Your dad calls on a Sunday, asks how the restaurant is treating you. You say fine. He says you sound different. You say you're just tired. He says get some sleep. You say I will. Both of you are lying about different things. Level 2. The list. Jalen connects you with a guy named Marcus. Marcus doesn't work at restaurants. Marcus works on a laptop in the back seat of a parked Nissan at 11 p.m. in a shopping center that closed 2 hours ago. Marcus buys stolen credit card numbers in bulk from the dark web. 100 numbers for $250. Not all of them work. Maybe 35 to 40 out of 100 are active. But 40 active cards averaging 300 each is $12,000 in merchandise that flips for $8,000 cash. The margins make restaurant cards look like pocket change. Marcus opens the laptop and shows you the marketplace. Rows of card numbers sorted by bank, card type, estimated limit, country, zip code. There are filters. There are ratings. There are sellers with review scores and customer satisfaction percentages. The entire structure mirrors a legitimate retail site, except every product in the catalog is someone's stolen financial identity. You quit the steakhouse. 2 weeks notice. Professional handshake. The manager says he hates to lose you. You almost laugh because the version of you he hates to lose hasn't existed for 6 months. You learn the infrastructure. Drop addresses are everything. Empty houses with for sale signs. Short-term rentals between bookings. Package lockers at convenience stores. You build a rotation of 25 addresses, and you never use the same one twice in a row. Packages arrive, and you collect them in a duffel bag on a schedule that looks like errands. Electronics move fastest. Laptops, tablets, noise-canceling headphones. Same-day sales on Marketplace and OfferUp. Cash in a parking lot. Gift cards are slower but cleaner. 500 in cards bought with a stolen number. Convert the gift cards to crypto. Convert the crypto to cash. 3 steps and the trail is cold. 9 to 13,000 a month. You move into a 1-bedroom. Your own place for the first time. The fridge has food in it. The lights stay on. The check engine light is a memory. Your dad thinks you transitioned into tech sales. You told him you got recruited by a company that sells software solutions. He told his brother. His brother told the rest of the family at Easter. Everyone said they were proud. You sat at the table and accepted congratulations for a career that doesn't exist from people who love you enough to believe anything you tell them. You're careful with money in public. You pay cash for everything because cash is invisible. You drive the same car because a new car invites questions, and questions invite attention. The only upgrade anyone can see is that you're not stressed anymore. Your shoulders are different. Your face is different. The $10 an hour tension is gone, and people notice the absence of tension more than they notice new things. Then your bank freezes your account. Not the secondary one. The primary one. Unusual deposit patterns. The bank wants documentation of your income source. You provide a fake pay stub from a company that doesn't exist, and the bank unfreezes it, and that works until it doesn't, and you know it won't work forever. You open a third account at a credit union under a slightly different version of your name. The fact that you need 3 bank accounts to hold money that came from one crime should tell you something. It tells you nothing. The math is too loud for the warning to get through. Level 3. The operation. You're 23 and the operation is no longer you and a laptop. You have 2 runners who collect packages from drop addresses. You have a contact at a hotel who photographs guest credit cards at check-in. You have Marcus, who now supplies fresh card batches weekly from a seller in Eastern Europe. Not just card numbers anymore. Full identity packages. Name, address, social security number, date of birth, phone number, mother's maiden name. Enough information to pass any verification call any bank has ever designed. The operation moves 35 to 50,000 a month. Your cut is 40%. You live in a 2-bedroom apartment. You drive the same car, but you've thought about replacing it, and the fact that you have to talk yourself out of a BMW every month is its own kind of problem. You buy your dad a recliner for Father's Day. The good kind. Leather. Power lift. $800. He's had a bad back for years, and his old chair was a recliner in name only. You drive it to his house and set it up in the living room. He sits in it and presses the button, and the footrest rises, and he leans back, and he closes his eyes, and he says this is the best chair he's ever sat in. You tell him you got a bonus at work. The software company. The one that doesn't exist. The recliner cost $800. Your last monthly take was $18,000. The recliner is 4.4% of 1 month. Your dad sits in it every night after dinner. He calls you on weekends to tell you he fell asleep in it again. Every call is a thank you built on a lie he doesn't know he's telling. One of your runners gets approached by a postal inspector outside a drop house. Just questions. No arrest. You replace the runner within 24 hours because there are always more people who need $500 a week and don't ask where it comes from. The speed with which you replace a human being should concern you. It doesn't. Marcus stops returning calls for 3 days. When he comes back, he says he had a family thing. You don't believe him, but you don't push because pushing means caring, and caring means attachment, and attachment in this business is a liability. The Secret Service is the part of the story you don't see coming. Not the FBI. The The Secret Service. They handle credit card fraud and identity theft and financial crimes that cross state lines. Most people think Secret Service means the president. The president is half the job. The other half is people like you. They've been tracking the Eastern European seller for 9 months. The seller's customer list is a database. Your username is in that database. Your username is linked to a cryptocurrency wallet. The wallet is linked to an exchange. The exchange has your government ID because you uploaded it 20 months ago when you were still small enough to think verification was just a formality. The dominoes are already falling. You just can't hear them yet. Level 4. The Warrant. They come at 5:50 a.m. on a Wednesday. You know the time because you check your phone when the knocking starts and 5:50 is the last number you see before the numbers stop being yours. For Secret Service agents. 2 local officers. A federal search warrant for the apartment and everything inside it. They find the laptops, the prepaid phones, the SIM cards, the credit cards with names that aren't yours, the external drives, and $28,000 in cash in a bag in the back of your closet behind winter coats you never wear. $28,000 in a gym bag is the kind of evidence that prosecutes itself. The car keys are on the counter. The car is impounded by 10 a.m. The apartment is sealed by noon. The indictment is 41 pages. Wire fraud, identity theft, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, aggravated identity theft, which carries a mandatory 2-year consecutive minimum on top of everything else. The total victim count across the investigation is 1,312 individual cardholders in 22 states. 1,312 people you never met who woke up one morning to charges they didn't make from cities they've never been to. The courtroom is where the numbers become names. 9 victims submit impact statements. A man named Gerald is 68 years old. Retired teacher. His card was used to buy $900 in electronics. His bank suspended his account for 2 months while they investigated. His rent check bounced. His landlord started eviction proceedings. A retired teacher almost lost his apartment because you needed $900 worth of product to flip for $600 cash on a Tuesday afternoon. You sit at the defense table and you look at your hands. Your hands type the numbers. Your hands click the buttons. Your hands carried the packages. Your hands are the whole crime. Your lawyer negotiates. The conspiracy charge carries up to 20 years. The mandatory minimum on aggravated identity theft is 2 years consecutive. The plea deal is 6 years federal plus 3 years supervised release plus $940,000 in restitution. You will own $940,000 for the rest of your working life. The judge approves it. Your dad is in the courtroom. He's wearing a jacket you've never seen before. He borrowed it. He borrowed a jacket to watch his son get sentenced because he didn't own one nice enough for a federal courtroom. He doesn't understand the legal language, but he understands the number 6, and he understands the word years, and he sits perfectly still with his hands flat on his knees, and he doesn't move for the entire proceeding. Jalen got 2 years. He cooperated immediately. Marcus got 9. He didn't. You serve 52 months with good behavior. You're 27 when you get out. You move back in with your dad. Your old room. The bed is the same. The walls are the same. The trophies from high school track are still on the shelf. You're 27 and you live with your dad, and you have a federal conviction and $940,000 in restitution and a resume that stops at a steakhouse you left 4 years ago. You get a job at a warehouse. $12 an hour. You skin boxes and load trucks, and you don't complain because complaining requires believing you deserve better, and you're not sure about that anymore. The recliner is still in your dad's living room. He still sits in it every night. He still falls asleep in it on Sundays. He still calls you to tell you about it. The recliner cost $800 from a Father's Day 4 years ago. Your dad doesn't know where the money came from. He just knows his son bought him a chair that doesn't hurt his back, and that's the kind of thing a good son does. You go to a restaurant on a Friday night. Your first time eating at a restaurant since you got out. Not the steakhouse. A different place. The server picks up your debit card to run it at the register. He walks away with it toward the kitchen. You watch him disappear down the hallway. You count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He comes back. He hands you the card and the receipt. 6 seconds. The length of a hallway. You don't know what he did in those 6 seconds. Nobody does. That's the point. That's always been the point. The hallway is where it happens, and nobody sees the hallway, and you built an entire life in a space that small. Your dad calls you that night. He tells you the recliner is making a noise when it reclines. Something in the motor. He asks if you can take a look this weekend. You say yes. You drive over Saturday morning. You open the base of the chair. The motor mount is loose. The bolt costs $6 at a hardware store. You pay with your debit card. The card works. The charge is yours. The $6 is honest. $6 to fix a chair that cost $800 that came from money, that came from cards, that came from a hallway that was 14 feet long. The chair is still running on the original crime. The bolt is new. The crime isn't. That's the math. That's always the math. The math doesn't stop when you do. The hallway is still 14 feet long. The chair still reclines. And the server still walks away with your card for 6 seconds every time you eat out. 6 seconds. That's all it ever was.